My name is Eliza, and for 25 years, I was the shadow in the family portrait. When my grandfather, Arthur Vance, passed away, I grieved for the only person who ever truly saw me. The reading of his will was held in a sterile downtown law office that smelled of old money and fresh grief. My guardians, my Aunt Fiona and Uncle Marcus, sat beside me. They had taken me in when my parents died, but I was always treated as a burden rather than a daughter. My cousins, Leo and Clara, their children, sat across from us, whispering and already looking bored. The lawyer, Mr. Graves, cleared his throat and began reading. The bequests were swift and staggering. To my brother Marcus Vance, I bequeath the entire Summit Hotel Group, valued at $40 million. Uncle Marcus puffed out his chest. To my sister-in-law, Fiona Vance, I bequeath the Park Avenue penthouse and its contents, valued at $20 million. Aunt Fiona managed a delicate, insincere sob. To my nephew, Leo Vance, I bequeath my complete modern art collection, valued at $10 million. To my niece, Clara Vance, I bequeath my controlling share in the private aviation firm, Aerolux, valued at $15 million. My cousins smirked at each other. They had received their kingdoms. The room fell quiet and all eyes turned to me. Mr. Graves looked over his glasses. And finally, to my beloved granddaughter, Eliza Vance. I leave this. He slid a small, old, leather-bound book across the mahogany table. Silence. Then a snicker from Leo. A book, Aunt Fiona said, her voice dripping with pity. How appropriate for the quiet one. Arthur always did have a strange sense of humor. Maybe it's a checkbook, Clara whispered, with no checks. I felt the blood rush to my face. I grabbed the book, stood up, and walked out of the office. Their polite, muffled laughter followed me down the hall. That night, in my tiny studio apartment, I finally opened the book. It wasn't a journal. Tucked inside the cover was a first-class train ticket to Zurich, Switzerland, dated for the following week. On the first page, in Grandfather Arthur's distinctive, sharp handwriting, was a simple note. The game is set, my dear. Time to make your move. Taped below, the note was a business card. Mr. Harrison, Private Banking, Zurich, and a single printed summary of an account. My hands began to shake. I didn't understand the numbers. There were too many zeros. The balance listed was $450 million. I called the international number on the card. After 20 minutes of proving who I was, a man with a precise, calm voice spoke. Yes, Ms. Vance, we have been awaiting your call. The EV Trust was established on your 18th birthday. Your grandfather was the settlor. It has been actively managed. That number, I whispered. Is it real? No, the banker replied. That statement is from 6 months ago. The portfolio has performed exceptionally well. The current valuation is approximately $1.8 billion. I dropped the phone. Billion. The trust, he explained when I called back, held controlling interests in 3 massive offshore wind farms, a tech incubator in Berlin, and prime commercial real estate in Dubai and Singapore. All those summers I had spent with Arthur, reviewing spreadsheets I thought were hypothetical business games. He wasn't just entertaining me, he was training me. He was showing me my own empire. I took the trip to Zurich. Mr. Harrison wasn't a prince, but he managed the wealth of kings. He explained that my grandfather saw the greed in his own brother and children. He wanted his legacy to go to someone who wouldn't destroy it, but build on it. He said you had the instinct, Miss Vance, Mr. Harrison said, handing me a file. He said you asked the right questions. The trust was his way of protecting you from them and protecting his life's work from their entitlement. When I returned, I was a different person, though no one knew it. I attended a family dinner at the penthouse Fiona had inherited. They were insufferable. Clara was planning a trip around the world. Leo was talking about selling the art to buy a proper sports car. Uncle Marcus, however, was complaining. "The hotels are a mess," he grumbled, swirling his wine. Arthur left them leveraged to the hilt. "We're cash poor. I might have to sell off the flagship property just to cover the loans." I just listened, my expression neutral, and sipped my water. That night, I called Mr. Harrison. "I want to explore an acquisition," I said, "a boutique hotel chain." 2 weeks later, a mysterious offer landed on Uncle Marcus's desk. An anonymous European investment firm, Apex Global, offered to buy the Summit Hotel Group for $50 million, $10 million above its struggling valuation. The offer was all cash and set to close in 10 days. It was an offer he couldn't refuse. He signed the papers, feeling like the smartest man in the room, celebrating his genius deal that saved him from bankruptcy. He had no idea he had just sold his entire inheritance to me. I now owned the family legacy, but I was tired of hiding. I found the most expensive property in the state, the Hawthorne Estate, a sprawling $25 million compound on a hill overlooking the city. I paid cash. The sale made the local news, citing a mysterious young buyer. I invited my family over for a housewarming. I simply gave them the address. The silence on the phone was profound. When they arrived, their car looked like a toy in the massive circular driveway. They walked into the marble foyer, staring at the double staircase and the chandelier that was bigger than my old apartment. "Eliza," my aunt whispered, her hand on her chest. "What is this? Did you get a job here?" "No, Aunt Fiona," I said, leading them through the house to the grand terrace. "It's my new home." "How?" Uncle Marcus demanded, his face pale. "The book," I said simply. "Grandfather Arthur's trust. The one you all laughed about." "That's impossible," Leo said, his voice cracking. "The trust holds $1.8 billion. I stated calmly, watching their faces collapse. "I own wind farms. I own tech companies. And as of last month," I paused, looking directly at my uncle, "I own the Summit Hotel Group." Uncle Marcus grabbed the railing. "Apex Global. That was you? You were going to run it into the ground," I said, my voice hard. "You complained about it. You were going to sell it off piece by piece. I saved it. I saved his legacy." "This is fraud," Clara shouted. "It's business," I countered. "A business I was trained to understand while you were all practicing how to spend. Grandfather Arthur didn't leave me a book. He left me the whole company. He just trusted me to be smart enough to earn it." Aunt Fiona looked like she was going to faint. "But we're your family?" "Are you?" I asked. "When I was left with a book, you laughed. When I was grieving, you were calculating. Family doesn't do that." Uncle Marcus, finally finding his voice, stammered. What are you going to do?" I looked at him, the man who was supposed to be my guardian, my protector. "First, you're all going to apologize, not to me, to his memory. Then, Uncle Marcus, you can stay on as manager of the flagship hotel, but you will report to my board, and you will learn, for the first time in your life, what it means to work." They stood there, silent, the entire power dynamic of our family shifting forever under the stars. I looked out at the city lights, my city. I wasn't the quiet, overlooked granddaughter anymore. I was the one holding all the cards. The game was set, just as Arthur had planned, and I was just getting started.